Hello, everybody, and welcome to a conversation with artist Rita Shimelfarb. Hi, Rita.
Hi, Lisa.
You're actually like right around the corner from me, and in a normal time, I would show up at your front porch and interview you. So I appreciate you letting us be in your world via Zoom.
We should do this again in person when we
Yeah, we should do this again.
It'd be a good thing.
I see you walking by all the time. We can sit in the yard and have wine as soon as things get normal. So as you know, we are providing people the opportunity to meet the artists who are exhibiting in the 7th annual group show. We are very grateful that you are participating. Tell us what it is that you have in the show and the pop-up.
Well, I work with glass, so what I have in the show is glass. The big piece is called Wisteria, and it literally is what it is. It's a somewhat stylized description of wisteria branches with a lot of color and a lot of chaos. And in a pop-up, I just have smaller pieces that are one of a kind. I try not to replicate what I do. It bores me to tears. So each piece is slightly different than anything else, but they're much more affordable because of the size.
And you work with glass. Glass is extremely tricky and difficult. Do you have a project right now that you're working on?
I have like a stack of projects right now. And I thought I would concentrate on two. But this weekend, actually, strange things that had happened. You know, like when you're being pushed into doing something without actually wanting to. Well, the universe pushed me into starting a new project. So I think I'm going to put the rest of them aside and actually concentrate on new work. So I'm working on a series. I've been working on the series for over a year now. It deals with marine life. It's more or less literal descriptions of marine life. Then there are a few pieces which I'm just trying to make right, and it's also been kind of sort of over a year. And this new project came out of lovely political situation we're dealing with in our country right now, and I was kind of skirting it around, and you know how sometimes it happens, things just come into place. Well, things came into place, and now I can't avoid it anymore.
And can you describe what it is that you're working on? Without giving away too much.
It's going to be a bit dark, so I'm trying to lighten it up a bit. But of course, it's going to be glass. Most likely, it's going to be not stained glass, but fused and painted glass. The racial tensions in the country have been incredibly impossible to avoid for a number of reasons. One of them is, for me personally, is my son is Black. And we are all very deeply affected through him. Of course, there's outrage outside of the fact that there's a person of color living in my family, but it makes things even more complicated and difficult because I'm not Black, but I'm a mother of a Black son. And there are layers to that. So the whole piece is processing of what it means to be raising a Black man in our current environment.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. I'm very much looking forward to that work when you are ready to share it.
Me too. I do hope it comes out the way I see it, which is always a bit of a challenge, you know.
Right, especially with glass. That medium is like, are you kidding? It's so obstinate and difficult.
But maybe that's why I like it. It also imposes really clear boundaries. You can't do certain things. Like you just can't force it. It's going to step like a toddler there and say, no, I'm not going to do it for you. So knowing what the limitations are is actually fascinating to me because it forces me to be more of an engineer than an artist. Engineering things, like I like the process. So I think that I selected this medium. It's not a surprise to me in retrospect that I selected this medium, or it selected me, whichever way.
It selected you probably. Okay, tell me about how your practice is experiencing the shelter in. Is this, are you finding that you have a totally different method to working? Has nothing changed? What's going on in your world?
Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed.
Well, I mean, the biggest shock to everything were the last 2 weeks. And it has, well, it's kind of sort of happening because of the COVID a bit, but that's you know, that's why we live in a situation we're in right now, partially, but that's not, it wasn't good reason enough for me to change my routine. I mean, I have lots going on, I guess. There are certain things I cannot do. I cannot go and see people in person. I cannot go and see theater, which is something that we're doing on a regular basis, at least once every 2 weeks, because Drew is a theater director, so we saw a lot of theater. We both dance, so we used to go out and that's at least once a week. And with dance, what we dance requires human embrace, so we can't do that anymore. Like on a personal level, of course it affects all of us and it affected us as well. But in terms of the daily cadence, not really.
Good.
I mean, I still do what I did a year ago. Probably very sad, and I shouldn't be saying it because at this point, a glass of wine would be good just to process it.
Right. Talk to me a little bit about the human aspect. So you mentioned dancing. Do you miss the social obligations of the art openings and the art parties and the having to be around people? I hear from a lot of artists that they are really happy at the break from human chatter.
I ignored those obligations before.
Okay, good.
I have no problem escaping them. So I still have no problem with that. I guess it depends on how you look at it. I don't think of what I do as something that I need to do. I'm compelled to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I made it a point not to make a living off making art. So I can actually, I feel to be in a very fortunate position to not have to force myself to socialize much around that, because I can just make art and then I can choose where it goes. Needless to say, my storage is full of art because I need to start selling it. At the same time, I do have a full-time job, and that takes the pressure of having to perform in other ways as an artist.
I like that, right. Preventing the juggle and the hustle in a way that, right, and demanding that your work do something that it's really not designed to do, potentially.
Right. And I understand how it can be a good thing in a way, because it does push you to develop as an artist a lot, and it does make you want to look at making art in different ways than I do.
Mm-hmm. So let's back up a little bit and talk about how you became an artist, what that journey was for you.
So if we have 20 minutes, we can have a discussion on what it actually means to be an artist, but I understand. I don't think of myself as an artist, as in, this is my calling and this is going to be great. I used to. I honestly did. I found it to be a little too precious. It kind of skewed with my view of the world a bit, because we artists do like to pamper ourselves and say that we have this amazing gift. I think of it more as being a radio right now. You kind of you tune in, or you're being tuned in, and you literally do the download of what is affecting you, and then you forming it into something. Like you, as an artist, I don't feel that I come up with a concept of something. I feel that in a way I'm just translating what I'm hearing into something more tangible. And I think we all do that in very different ways. So saying that I'm an artist and somebody is not an artist, to me is a little disingenuous, because people do it through all kinds of different mediums, including their work, their technical work that has nothing to do with visual art or music or theater. I just equalized the whole universe.
I love it. No, I think, and also like you are making based on a reaction to being in the moment on this planet, right?
Yeah. Something rubs you the wrong way, and you process and you process and you process, and sometimes it comes out as a pearl, but most of the times it's a turd that you put away and don't ever look at it again. Or maybe you look at it and you keep on reworking it. Did I use some?
Maybe you wait for a pandemic and then you suddenly pick up that piece that you hadn't looked at in 10 years. There's that too. So in your practice, you're making around a very full life. It is not just all you do. You have an eclectic full plate in front of you, and making art is a part of it.
Yeah, I've tried to make it special, and I kind of sort of started going crazy a little around it. Like I literally felt like I was losing my footing by limiting myself to being this one important special thing. Like I was getting very, very depressed. Although I was making a lot of good work, I was getting very, very depressed around it. It was throwing me off balance. I thought of myself as being too important for a while. And once I kind of sort of worked through it, it became
And maybe, right, like you were taking yourself a little bit too seriously, it sounds like. Yeah. And that's never very fun. That doesn't always end well. You also have a degree in applied math and computer science. Very technical. That is the day job so your two spheres are so different between art and the day job.
You know, you would think, but what I do at work is engineering. What I do with my art is engineering. The outcomes are different, but I still have to come up with a process to make it work. And I think if I was just painting, I would be bored out of my mind. Or maybe I tried. I really suck at it. I just started painting. And I'm just not that much into the process of painting, but something about engineering a process for glass works for me. And it's not all that different than engineering a process for a software product.
Well, and it's so much problem solving. Engineering is so much like you want to do X, so what are the 42 steps to get there? I imagine working with glass must be the exact same way.
Yes, the end result is the same, but the process is very similar.
Okay, so who are your inspirations? Who do you look to? What do you look to inspire your work?
There are a bunch of groups on Facebook of artists doing interesting and fun things. So once in a while, I check in who pops up that I don't know about who's doing quality work. But there are mainstays. There are people who've been doing work of really high quality and high ingenuity for years. Sylvia Lux, who's a Costa Rican artist, has been a pioneer in glass painting. She does it differently. Else. I mean, the end result is breathtaking. I should probably send links and include them maybe.
Yeah, we're gonna list all the names and hopefully people will Google them, because with each batch of questions, I find that the list under the inspiration sections, I'm being introduced to so many artists who I've never heard of.
Yeah, there are lots of good people out there. Another good artist is Judy Schechter. She's an American, kind of sort of look crazy in her own way, but she came up with this absolutely new and different way of making glass art. She's an absolute pioneer, and her work is in museums around the country. And she's, I think, the only stainless woman artist I can think of whose work actually made it into the museum.
Nice.
So she's very exceptional, and more and more and more.
And more and more and more. And right now, for people listening, if you are in Evanston, you can see Rita's work in the window. I encourage you to go after sunset because it is backlit. It's at the Evanston Animal Hospital on Dempster between Chicago and Hinman on the south side of the street. And I walked by the other night. It is gorgeous, ethereal, beautiful woman. And it's huge. And not all of your work is backlit, correct? Or does all of it come with a mechanism?
Well, glass has to be backlit. Some of it is in light boxes, some can be hung on a window. But
Okay.
all of the work can be hung on a window. It's just it goes dark and dead at night because glass has to have light behind it.
So, right, the backlight is crucial for the piece because it looks vastly different during the daytime even.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Rita, I appreciate you doing this interview and being in our show again. You were also the model on the poster last year for the group show. I appreciate you letting us share you and your talent so well.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for doing this. This is a lot of work, and we all appreciate you doing it as well. That's a huge undertaking.
It's very, very fun.